to be followed by Kezia Dugdale, and speeches of a very tight 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Could I apologise firstly because of my voice? I have man flu, and as all the women in this room will know, that we obviously have difficulty with dealing with a slight cold. But when I came here today, I initially thought that we were all going to be working together to discuss this very important subject, because it is something that we can agree on, because the children of our future and how they achieve things in life is important, but not when you've listened to the Labour Party and Mr McIntosh's initial rant with regards to the negativity, or with regards to negativity towards the future. How can you be negative when you're talking about education and attainment for all the children of Scotland? How can that be negative? How can that be something that you don't want to achieve? But Mr McIntosh, I know, is actually in a leadership contest. Unfortunately, his UK leader doesn't know his name, but perhaps by having a go at the SNP within these chambers, it might give him an opportunity to make a name for himself. But he mentioned about the funding decisions that hadn't been taken in education across the whole of Scotland. And when you're sitting here, I've heard it in Renfrewshire Council chamber, I've heard it here. The Labour Party keep talking about decisions, but they offer nothing, and they just give us non-stop negativity with no ideas, no idea how they would actually solve the issues. So we do live in very difficult times, but one other thing Mr McIntosh says is small classes, large classes, composite classes, children moving through. What education departments are you talking about? I do not know of any director of education or any educationalist that would allow a primary school child to go through school that way. That is complete and utter nonsense. And you actually do a great disservice to the professionalism of educationalists within our local authorities. I would also say that, yes, I would.
Ken McIntosh.
Is Mr Adam guaranteeing that when a child enters a class size of 18 in P1, he'll stay in a class size of 18 throughout his school career?
No,
Mr
Adam was actually saying, Mr McIntosh, that your idea that there would be constant change throughout their primary school education just isn't going to happen in any school.
Mr Adam, could you address your remarks through the chair, please? Thank you very much.
Sorry, Presiding Officer, I apologise. But to continue, the performance of teachers play a large part in strengthening education, and it's important that some of the McCormick ideals are considered, particularly when it comes to leadership. But this debate is a difficult debate, and the Minister is quite correct when we say we should look at it as with regards to our own children, because I'm a parent, many of us in here are parents, and I've got my own child who is no longer a child, he's 20-year-old, but he's on the autistic spectrum. And he wasn't actually diagnosed till later on in his academic life. Now, if we had that earlier, James would have done a lot easier time within education, but it became very difficult for him. So I always reach these debates as a parent, and how would I want best for my children? And I agree wholeheartedly with the Minister when she mentioned that as well. For Mr McIntosh's point of view, I think I would maybe give him just a slight definition of attainment. It's the action or fact of achieving a goal towards which one works, and that's exactly what we're aiming to do. An ambition is a strong desire to do or achieve something, and I think that's important as well. If you don't have explanations and definitions like that within the debate, why are we here? What are we discussing? But the previous minority government offered so much. You know, increase free nursery provision by 20%, increase the provision of free nursery education to 3- and 4-year-olds, and more importantly, £10 million in supporting early years action fund. I could go on, the list is quite endless, but time is obviously not, Presiding Officer. But the unfortunate is that we have to look to the future, and it's something that the Labour Party unfortunately doesn't do, it just says we don't want to. New integrated children inspection, working with social care and social work improvement in Scotland. New Children's Services inspection will be ready by 2012. Children's Hearings Act Scotland will be implemented by September 2012. And again, Early Years Change Fund, recognising the effects of early intervention. One of the important parts I take personally is the development of a parenting strategy, because how often have we heard from various individuals, or grandparents in particular, I blame the parents. You know, so at the end of the day, I think it may be a good idea if we look at how we can make things better for everyone else in the country. Before I was elected to this chamber, I was a councillor, or still am a councillor in Renfrewshire Council, And all I heard was constant negativity regarding education, in particular Renfrewshire Council's education, when in fact it is comparatively one of the best education departments in Scotland. So at the end of the day, Labour again constantly attacking and offering nothing in return. So in closing, Presiding Officer, although we currently live in very difficult economic times, we must look to the future and not only be ambitious for the current generation, but the ones that come after it. These ambitions should be never-ending, constantly ensuring that all young Scots have opportunity to develop and thrive in a dynamic new Scotland.
Thank you.